To Matrix Live episode 17, recorded live from beautiful gate 98, I think, in SFO, where we've been chasing long-term funding opportunities and have productive meetings. So Matthew, do you want to tell us more about funding in general?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, we should make it clear that we're in SF, courtesy of one of the long-term funding options who have very kindly flown us out here to talk to various people. So it's all expenses paid by them. We're not going and running off to California with your donations. But funding as a whole is looking pretty good, actually, this week. Huge thanks go out to Matt Mullenweg, who is famous for made a very generous donation on Patreon, which means that we're now tantalizingly close to our goal of $5,000 a month to fund one full-time dev on Patreon. So we're up at, I think, $4,200 a month now. So thank you hugely to Matt for supporting Matrix, and apologies for the tannoy noises, everybody. There's nothing we can do about that. Yeah, basically thanks to Matt, and we're hoping that in future, once we get threading into Matrix, there could be some really interesting bridging between WordPress and Matrix and other blog and forum-based systems. Should probably also apologise that we're tired and jet-lagged because we've been here for like 2 days and it's been solid meetings. What else on funding? We didn't add PayPal as a donation route, but we actually remembered to tell people it existed. So apologies that when we set up PayPal about 4 months ago, we didn't tell anybody. But it's a bit of a screw up, but it does exist, and it's now on all of the websites where we talk about donations. And finally, long-term situation is progressing well, both here in San Fran and other options, and watch the space to see how things work out.
Indeed.
Tell us about Riot Web, Amandine.
Riot Web. So we do have. I'm going to project and lean towards the mic because. So the granular settings is ready to merge, thanks to Travis' huge work on that. So thank you again, Travis, for what you've been doing there. It's going to be super helpful.
This is a massive patch, by the way. It's 45 files and like thousands of lines of code, replacing the entire settings infrastructure for Riot Web. We had a big fight over whether to merge it in time for the release, which is coming up at the beginning of next week, and this week it actually is coming up. And we decided in the end to leave it until the next one. But Riot 0.13, which should be out probably Monday or Tuesday, assuming that the release candidate doesn't have problems, won't have it, but we will merge it to develop on Monday as well. So people, if you want to help us test the next release on develop, then it would be good, because it could introduce some interesting stuff, although we reckon it looks good.
Yep, indeed. You've been merging the new theme thing as well, right?
Yep. So the status theme isn't quite merged yet. Again, it's not going to make it in time for Riot 13. It's ended up being a complete rewrite of the tinting stuff, which changes room color to make it work okay with other themes, and a bunch more stuff. But given I'm about to be trapped on a plane for the next 9 hours, or 11 hours, hopefully I can finish that off whilst in the air.
And basically, the week has been spent polishing groups so that we can actually do the release next week. So that's going to be fun.
Yep. So thanks, Luke, to doing all of the group polishing stuff. It's looking really good. We keep finding little annoying, nagging problems with it, but hopefully they're all sorted out now. And finally, the release candidate for 0.13 was cut today, Friday, except. Which makes you realise this is going to go out really late, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we're in the wrong time zone.
Yep.
Oh, well, sorry if you've been sitting there hoping that Matrix Live will be out Friday lunchtime or whenever. But basically, God, the tunnel is annoying. Release candidate should be live on /staging, but we need to update matrix.org to handle it. The home server hasn't been updated yet, and so in practice it's probably going to go live on Monday so that people can help us test on /staging.
Yeah. On the mobile side of things, we do have the key sharing implemented on Android. I've seen, haven't completely played with it yet, but I've seen Yannick saying it was there, so I have to test it.
So this is huge. It means that when you install, when you fire up a new version of Riot, or you find a UIC undecryptable message in Riot, it will now query the mobile devices to see if they can share the keys if you give them permission to, whereas previously it was just on web. And I think that's also landed on iOS, on develop as well.
Yeah. Yes,
Or
if
at least
not,
we
it's
saw the
a
branch.
most, yes, if not, it's coming very soon. And so yes, they've been progressing on the end-to-end side on both iOS and Android. The group side of things as well have made some progress, but Guillaume has spent some time fixing a few bugs on the sharing directly from the phone operating system.
And there's been a bit of work still trying to chase down this spontaneous logout bug, although we did realise, thanks Manu, that it was actually also in the App Store version. So if people in the App Store have been spontaneously logged out, please let us know. We also found a sign-up bug, which was impacting people who tried to register for usernames with capital letters, which has been fixed or worked around temporarily on the server side. And in terms of releases, we were meant to be doing releases this week, but it's all got a bit blocked behind chasing some of the niggling issues still. So basically, both web and mobile releases have slipped a week. So sorry if you were looking forward to it, but it's coming.
Hopefully next week should be the one.
It really should. Shall I talk about Synapse?
Yes.
So Rich fixed one of the long-term state corruption bugs. I don't think one which had really bitten anybody in anger, but it's a little bit worrying when the compressed way in which we store states in Synapse ends up having a kind of a creeping incremental corruption in it, meaning that I think it was a cache coherency issue, basically meant that rooms would gradually get more and more corrupted over time. But as I say, I don't think we've ever been bitten by it, but we just spotted it and Rich tracked it down and fixed it. And otherwise, not very much on Synapse. I've been chasing some home server bugs for people, including one that we've had for many, many years, where spontaneously it looks as if you suddenly receive floods of presence traffic over Federation, which is really weird because it looks as if all of the servers in a room get in sync in their retries or their timeouts to go and announce Federation presence changes. So basically, you suddenly get DOSed by a bunch of servers giving you random presence updates that you don't really care about. And it was causing huge problems for Jeremy over at Petabyte, where it causes his home server to stop for about 20 seconds whilst it handles floods and floods of presence traffic. So I've been looking into that a little bit. Haven't found a solution yet, but I think that might be causing potentially quite a lot of pain for Synapse users. Or it might be a symptom of something else. Who knows? Meanwhile, over on the Dendrite side of things, there's been more progress this week. Hooray! Various processes, English, I learned it from the book. Work has been proceeding on various APIs from Erik and Rich, and also from the community. I saw that Tech Guy, Michael, went and contributed the turn server endpoint. Anoadragon has done another 1 or 2 PRs, and there's also a PR from ptman for various different APIs. Thank you so much, community, for helping us on Dendrite, and hopefully everybody agrees it's a lot more fun to hack on than Synapse. I think we probably already have more third-party contributions to Dendrite than we do to Synapse, so make of that what you will.
Which is good. It's really helpful.
Yeah. Also on Synapse, on the LDAP auth side of things, we've been supporting some folks who've been trying to use the third-party Matrix LDAP auth module for Python, which I think Hexa over at Darmstadt CCC has stopped maintaining. Currently it points people to MXISD, which is great if people want to run MXISD. However, there have been some people asking for a simpler Python-based solution, so we've also been working with trying to work out how to maintain that going forwards. So what we're probably going to do is to take over official maintainership of that module for people who just want it as a 200-line Python auth module. So watch this space on that.
On the bridges, there have been quite some fun with Freenode.
It's been a nightmare with Freenode, to be precise. So the Freenode bridge has fallen over about 8 times in the last week. It seems to be a combination of the box being overloaded, which we've upgraded to a much bigger box, but then also spikes in member changes on Freenode caused by net splits, as far as we can see inside Freenode. But it's not clear why we've suddenly hit a threshold where this causes problems. I've gone and learnt a whole bunch more about node garbage collection than I ever wanted to know in terms of trying to tune the bridge and keep it under control, but there are still some stability problems. So apologies if you've been bitten by annoying join part spam on Freenode. We're working on it, although bridges in general are horribly undermanned at the moment, which is why yours truly is looking at it.
Zero.
No, you're calling me zero.
No, modular emergency maintenance, but if it's not falling over, then no one is maintaining it.
Indeed. And on that note, apparently there have been a whole bunch of useful PRs against the Slack bridge, and at the moment, again, we don't have anybody working on the Slack bridge either. So actually, this is a call for anybody who wants to help maintain the Slack bridge. We're basically looking for a maintainer, likewise on the Gitter bridge. These were originally written by Leonard, who was contracting for New Vector, or Vector Creations as we were then, the company who works on Riot, but at the moment we don't have any money to pay him, so he's off doing other exciting things, and so it's fairly maintainerless. So if anybody can help us, please get in touch.
Shall I go talk to the girl so that she can announce it? Please help Matrix.
Yeah, actually doing a ton of announcement in SFO for anybody who knows Twisted and Python who's interested in, actually it's not even Twisted Python, a Node developer who can help us on the Slack bridge, and probably end up with a bunch of Slack employees coming up and trying to push us out of a window or something.
Absolutely.
Anyway, is there anything else on our side?
I think that's about it.
Cool. Well, sorry for the horrible quality Matrix Live this
I
week.
hope any bit of it came through.
Yeah. Especially as I've got the microphone. You probably should have switched it around so that I could have bellowed and been picked up. Let's see. Anyway, have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, and continuing to, in our case, almost literally fly Matrix.
Bye.